Today we're going to be learning about polygons. So polygons are a special type of shapes, and they have certain rules for a shape to be considered a polygon. Rule number 1, it has to be a 2D shape. So a polygon is going to have length and width, but it's not going to have that third dimension of height. So right now, this is a two-dimensional figure or shape. This is a two-dimensional shape. This is a two-dimensional shape. A 3D shape is when you add a third dimension. So now I've added height. So this would be a cube, and this is not a polygon. This is a polygon, but if I add that third dimension, not a polygon anymore. If I add that third dimension, no longer a polygon. Sorry. Okay? So polygons are always in 2D. So if it has a third dimension, it is not a polygon. Number 2. Polygons have 3 or more straight sides. So the sides have to be straight. So a square, that is a polygon. A triangle, that's a polygon. An octagon, that is a polygon. This is not a polygon, doesn't count. Circle has rounded sides, doesn't count. Something like this doesn't count. That's not a polygon. Something like this. Nope, not a polygon because it has that rounded side. So it has to have 3 or more straight sides. And the next rule is that all sides
must connect.
And the 4th rule is
no lines can cross.
Well, what that means is something like this. That is not a polygon because it is not closed. If I close it, then I have a rectangle. That's a polygon. I can't have something that crosses either. So a star. A star like this, not a polygon because I have those lines that are crossing in there. So a star, not a polygon. But if I had a star like this, that star would be a polygon because the lines don't cross each other. They just come together and connect. But if they cross each other, if they went like this or any other way, that is no longer a polygon. Now all these shapes apart from each other would be polygons. This would be a bunch of polygons put together, but the whole shape itself, not a polygon. Shape right here, that could be a polygon, but all those shapes together, those are not polygons. This is basically 5 polygons stuck together. The next thing we're going to talk about are regular polygons. So these are equilateral polygons. And if you remember, equilateral, equal means equal, lateral means sides. So they're polygons where each side is equal to each other. So we're going to start off with the smallest one, and that is a 3-sided polygon, and we all know that as a triangle. So to show that this triangle is all equal sides, remember we put those little marks, and that means that it's all the same length on each side. And this one is called a triangle. And whatever the amount of sides a polygon has, that's how many angles it has as well. So if we look on here, this polygon has 3 angles inside it. So it has an angle right here, has an angle right here, and there. So because it has 3 sides, it's going to have 3 angles. So the next one we're going to have is a quadrilateral. This quadrilateral has all the same sides, and that is going to make it a square. The square has 4 sides. The square is also going to have 4 angles. And these angles are special because these angles are right angles. So we can see 1, 2, 3, 4 angles inside of that square. Next up, with 5 sides, we have a pentagon. Now I'm just going to let you know from now on, my shapes are probably not going to look the best because they're really hard to draw without a ruler and all that stuff. So trust me, I'm trying my hardest to make them look equal, even if they're not technically equal. I think y'all get the gist. They're supposed to be equal, right? Cut me some slack here. So each one of these sides are equal. This has 5 sides and it's called a pentagon. And a pentagon has 5 angles inside of it because it has 5 sides. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 angles. Yes, I do expect you to know all of these shapes that I am teaching you. I expect you to know how many sides they have, how many angles they have, and what they are called. So you're going to have to memorize what these shapes are called. You probably already know these ones, but we're going to get into some really high numbers, so you're going to have to memorize some new ones today. 6-sided figure is called a hexagon. It has 6 sides, so it's going to have 6 angles. This hexagon, even though it doesn't look like it, we're going to pretend that it has all equal sides. And it has 6 inside or interior angles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 angles. The next one has 7 sides. A 7-sided figure is called a heptagon. Heptagon. So it has 7 sides. Now we're going to really start to not be looking so hot here. Sorry. They're very hard to draw. We're going to pretend all those sides are the same because I'm having a hard time drawing these. And of course, since it has 7 sides, guess how many angles it's going to have? 7. So that's 1 through 7. So remember, a regular polygon is a polygon that has all equal. Okay, so the next one, it has 8 sides, and that is called an octagon. You've all seen an octagon before if you've ever seen a stop sign. A stop sign is an octagon. It has 8 sides, so you guessed it, it has 8 angles. This is a regular polygon, so all of its sides have the same exact length. You can remember octagon really easy because oct means 8. Octa, like an octopus, octagon. Next up we have a 9-sided figure. A 9-sided figure is called a nonagon. So a nonagon, you can remember because non kind of reminds me of 9. So all these sides are the same length. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It has 9 sides, so that means it has 9 angles inside of it. So remember, we're always talking about the angle on the inside. So it's where those 2 lines come together on the inside of the shape. 10-sided figure, that is called a decagon. You can kind of remember this because this root word right here, deca, if you can kind of think of like decade, a decade has 10 years in it. A decagon has 10 sides. The DEC stands for 10. 10 sides, 10 angles. So it has 10 sides all the same. 10 sides, 10 angles. Next one, 11 sides. This is called a hendecagon. So one way you can remember that is that we have the word decagon inside of this, and you just have a hen tacked onto the front. So it's a decagon with a hen in the front. And that obviously has 11 angles inside of it because it has 11 sides. Last one we're going to learn, 12-sided figure. This is called a dodecagon. So remember again, we have deca in there, and then we have the prefix do. The way that I kind of remember it is that the do part kind of reminds me of dozen, and 12 equals a dozen. So that's kind of how I remember it's a dodecagon, like a dozen decagon has 12 sides. It obviously will have 12 angles inside of it. Sounds it has 12 sides. Those are our regular polygons.
So we've learned about regular polygons. There's also things called non-regular polygons or irregular polygons. And so what you already saw was all of the different regular polygons, but for each of the different sided shapes, there's also irregular polygons. So just because something doesn't look like a regular hexagon, it can still be a hexagon if it has 6 sides. So no matter what it looks like, something is still going to be called an octagon, a nonagon, a dodecagon. Whatever its name is, it's going to be based on the sides it has, not necessarily what it looks like. So I have some examples up above.